One.
Hello, everybody, and today at Young Guns, we got a show talking about the Super Bowl, previewing that. It's going to be a fantastic game, hopefully. Everybody's, favorite football game of the year. And then we're doing the awards for the NFL, all the players and coaches that have had great seasons at their respective positions. It's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to break it all down with you guys, man.
I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to breaking down the 57th edition of the Super Bowl.
I hope it's a good game this year, but I really hope that the Chiefs win too.
Oof.
I'm an Eagles hater.
Yeah.
So is Austin, aren't you, Bo?
Oh,
Hello?
most Dallas fans, man, they're not, fans of the Eagles for sure.
Yeah. But it'll be fun seeing Andy Reid going up against his old team, man. The
Mhm.
team he was fired from on New Year's Eve 2012. And then his second act in Kansas City, it's going to be fantastic. But, it's going to be a very beautiful game. That's for sure. What's up, traveling fools? How are you,
What's
my
up,
man?
everyone?
And
Alright.
Nick Sirianni has a little backstory of his own. He got fired from the Chiefs, but but that was before Andy Reid, so he's got a little score to sell with KC himself.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's gonna be a lot. There's two coaches with scores to settle on Sunday night on Fox.
We also have the Kelsey family reunion going on.
Oh man, that's gonna be so cool. Only
Mhm.
trouble is for their mom is who's she pulling for? I mean, Travis or Jason?
Both. You got to root for both, man.
No man, that's kind of like
And
true. But will be an awkward dinner on Easter. He's got like hey mom, who'd you pull for on Super Bowl 57? I played the fifth.
Yeah.
Dad, who'd you pull for? Oh, I was pulling for your brother Travis.
Mhm. Yeah,
Who's
they
the more
both won
successful?
one too. They both won one too, so you can't like root for one because one hasn't won yet. Like, she
True.
really has like no really way to pull for. All right.
But yeah, this is going to be another fantastic live stream, but it's going to be a very special one indeed, and it's going to be very fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna take a look at the awards here. The first one, we're not really gonna pick this one because it's really hard to do research on this one. But it's the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Like, I just really love seeing what all these athletes do around their communities and help out. It just like warms my heart that these guys aren't just in it for the money; they're also in it to make a difference in their communities.
Oh man, I mean these guys are so cool, man. It's you love to see it.
oh yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, making money, a lot of these guys, I mean, they deserve it, as hard as they work and, for the entertainment for us and, the amount of stress they, put through their bodies and just the fact that they're just elite at what they do. But I mean, like you said, they're not only, doing it for the money or, using the platform just to make money per se, but to also help other people is awesome. Because I mean, a lot of people, I mean, it's a lost art per se, to help others just for the sake of, doing it or the fact that you are able, you're in a position to be able to help. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It sure is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think Russell's kind of hoping that the Denver community will help him though after the rough season, but he did so much good with Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, obviously, like you said, you mentioned, before we, came on that it's impossible to know who's going to win this. completely
Yeah.
possible. I mean, it's gonna, they're gonna pick one, and they're all deserving for sure.
Mhm.
For sure.
All right. So the first award we're going to look at is Defensive Rookie of the Year. So the first one is Tariq Woolen, who's a cornerback from the Seahawks. And I think it's a good story that a guy from UTSA could just straight up start in the NFL and already become nominated for Rookie of the Year. It just shows the culture in Seattle of developing young players and really making them stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a fantastic job for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a great year this year. We look forward to seeing, more awesome plays from Tyreek Woolen in the coming years.
Mhm.
But, I feel bad for the Rams and the 49ers and the Cardinals because they got to deal with him twice a year.
Mhm.
But the Seahawks, they're going to be very happy in the future.
Well, I mean, it's awesome when you come from a smaller school because of the fact that when you are coming from a top program and you're a top draft pick, you're already expected to, perform, at a high level. But when you are coming from a smaller program, no one really knows what, exactly, you're going to do. Are you even going to make it in the league? And then when you over exceed expectations, it's awesome. I mean, that's why obviously people still talk about, Tom Brady, for what he's done throughout his career because of where he was drafted, even though he was from a big program. But I mean, in the case of
Mhm.
Tariq Woolen, like you said, he was from UTSA, so it's amazing that he's accomplished what he has so far.
Yeah, and I think it's impressive that the Seahawks are already loading in the new talent because, of course, that Legion of Boom, they're all gone now, so they got to have new guys step up, and Tariq Woolen definitely has done that for.
I mean, he's led the league in interceptions this year. I mean, that alone is impressive. And he's just a little draft steal from Texas San Antonio, man. I mean, I'm telling you, this is exactly why you should watch the mid-major games. I mean, some people are going to sit there and go, "Oh, they're just a bunch of nobodies." But I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to see gems like Tyreek Woolen. Trust me, draft scouts, you're not going to regret it.
Mm-hmm. And one of the more colorful figures in the NFL, Sauce Gardner, who is the main man on defense for the Cincinnati team that made the playoff last year. He shows that he can do it in the NFL just like he did it in the American Athletic Conference.
Oh, man.
Yeah, my favorite moment was when he put on the cheese head and trolled the Packers fans after winning. That was pretty funny.
Oh,
I
man.
mean, Sauce Gardner is a fantastic player. I mean, obviously his story is a bit different, than Tariq Woolen because of the fact that, again, he was a high draft pick. People were expecting big things from him out of Cincinnati, but still, Cincinnati's not Alabama, Georgia, or Ohio State. It's still a smaller program, and he's done a fantastic job. And I mean, a player like him, the Jets desperately needed. I mean, they need, to inject life into that organization and actually, to be able to have players, that are young at playing at a high level. And Sauce Gardner's definitely delivered. I mean, he is a really good corner.
Oh, man. I like the little cheese head that he's got on, I mean, that is so funny. But I tell you what, though, old dipping Sauce Gardner was dipping some sauces in the passes defended and leading the league in it, man. I mean, I tell you what. I mean, this is not a guy you want to mess with. AFC East. I'm gonna tell you right now, Buffalo Bills. You might want to watch yourself twice a year. But as for the New York Jets, when they do at some point get to the playoffs in, I say 2023, 2024, Sauce Gardner is one of the reasons why. He's one of the best of the best in the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, the Notre Dame receivers weren't great last year, But Sauce Gardner made him look like high school players, man. Like,
Oh man, he's awesome.
mm-hmm.
Just makes the choice to decide that much harder, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we
I
got
just wish
Tyreek.
that the Jets just didn't have an offense to help them this year, though. And Zach Wilson is looking like a Ryan Leaf type bust. So hopefully the Jets can get it together.
I think
At least Zach Wilson's lasted longer though of actually starting. I mean,
yeah. Well, in the coming weeks, the New York Jets might get something very good coming soon to their future. They got a future full of silver coins.
Mm-hmm. And our other
man, Aiden Hutchinson. Oh man, he's been fantastic this season. Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
well, I mean, Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, he his success already speaks for itself. What he did in college at Michigan. I mean, he was a beast at Michigan, and he freaking made the Heisman. I mean, as a defensive player to make the Heisman list today is amazing. I mean, you don't do that anymore. So I think that is amazing. So we knew that more than likely he was going to be a stud in the NFL, and he has. You just look at what he's doing for the Detroit Lions, and an organization like the Jets with Sauce Gardner that needs players like this to play hard, to bring back the tough defense, especially with the Lions, that they've had, at times in the past. And I think that he is a perfect player for them, and he's had a great rookie year. And I mean, it is extremely tough to know, who to pick in these awards, because all three have been great players.
Mm-hmm. I just think, like, what if the Jaguars picked him first instead of Trayvon Walker? Would they have beat the Chiefs? Would they be the team possibly?
That's a very good question, Will. That is a very good question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
It's a big what if.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it was impressive that he looked just as good in the NFL as he did in college. It's impressive to just like seamlessly transition so well, just like the other two guys that are on our list.
Yeah, because a lot of times, I mean, even when you're a top pick, you do struggle, and you've seen it with tons of top picks. They don't, perform, especially in their rookie year, at the same level that they did in college. It's a definite step back, and they might eventually be really good, but they do have that transition period. To your point, none of these three, have had that issue. And I mean, you feel like with Tariq Woolen, and Sauce Gardner, they're corners. They're playing, out in the backfield. It's a little different. I'm not saying that's an easier position. No, it's not. I mean, the technique and everything you have to do, if you mess up and get blown coverage, then it's bad news. But I mean, to me, that possibly is an easier position to transition to. When you're Aiden Hutchinson, you're going into the fire of having to out-bully these experienced NFL offensive linemen. Find a way to get through that. And, I mean, he's transitioned perfectly, like you said. I mean, no issues. I mean, it's like he's been in the NFL for 10 years. It's crazy.
All right. So we must make our decision. We must pick who our
That's the good part, and the bad part about it is you got to make a decision. I mean, I guess I'm just going to have to go with Tariq Woolen. That's just my decision right there, man. I mean, leading the league in interceptions, man. I mean, that is enough for me, man.
Is that your pick, Jeffrey?
Who you got?
Well, I feel like Tariq Woolen he had a great year, but I feel like he's not as big of a name as Sauce and Hutch.
That's your reasoning? Because he's not that big of a name? Come on.
Well, I'm trying to think of who the people will pick, not who we will pick.
I know.
Yeah, what's kind of funny is I actually have no idea, because you guys, put the list out, and that was the one position for whatever reason that wasn't in the list. You had all the other ones in the list, and that one wasn't, so I have no idea.
Well, I say this. I say show the people Tariq Woolen, just a compilation of highlights of Tariq Woolen, and what people choose from there.
Who you got, Will? I'm waiting
I'll
for
go.
yours.
I'll go Hutch. I don't know. It could be either one.
Well, since you're going Hutchinson, I'll just go Sauce then.
Yeah.
I'll pick one. There you go.
I'll pick one. There we go.
There we go. All of us, we're just kind of like, we're not unanimously pick. I mean, it's just a hard choice,
Yeah. All right.
but it's a great one all the same.
All right. On to the offensive side.
Oh man,
Now I have actually
that
have the
one's
pick
gonna
of
be
the rest of
easier.
these. I have the
Broxo
picks for the rest of
Purdy,
Mhm.
Broxo Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant is now Mr. Relevancy.
Mhm.
I mean, dude was unbeaten until the NFC title game. Unfortunately, when his
Yeah,
throw
hurt.
got messed up by the Eagles. But I tell you what, though, I mean, if anybody watched this guy at Iowa State, if you guys, in the live chat watched him at Iowa State, you'd know that he was really awesome at Iowa State. He was a straight up baller.
Mhm.
I mean, it was just bam, bam, bam.
Mhm.
It was just, I mean, even though they had a disappointing 2021 season that year at Iowa State, Brock Purdy did very well. I mean, he was just pretty good, It's just nobody really watches enough Iowa State, which is sad, but
Mhm.
it is what it is. But Brock Purdy, man, he showed the league why he's Mr. Relevancy. I mean, I tell you what though, any defense in the NFC West, you're gonna have a rough time with him.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, you look at Brock Purdy. I mean, you mentioned Iowa State, Mr. Irrelevant and all that. And then he had a great, season prior to his last season at Iowa State when they went 7-6. The year before they were 11-2. I really feel that if he left after that year, he's drafted higher. Obviously, he's not going to be drafted in the first round because he wasn't playing for one of the top teams in college football. It was Iowa State, but I do feel he would have been drafted higher when he came back and they went 7-6. That hurt his draft stock, whether it should have or not. You can agree to disagree. I personally think he shouldn't have dropped, but that's just what happened. And he fell all the way to the last pick of the draft, to the 49ers. And you look at what he's done already in his NFL career, coming in, for when Trey Lance getting hurt and then Jimmy Garoppolo is getting hurt. And for a lot of people, the 49ers season's over. They have no shot to make, a run in the playoffs or anything like that. And Brock Purdy comes in and he improves their offense. If you look at the numbers, their offense was actually better than it was with Jimmy Garoppolo. He was throwing for a lot of yards, not making mistakes, and he was playing high-level football. But then he got hurt, unfortunately, against the Eagles. Hurt his elbow, and that was it. Had no shot to win, couldn't throw, but that should not take away from what Brock Purdy has achieved already in his career, because the transition should not be like that. It should be, Brock Purdy should have come in and struggled, and the 49ers should have lost some games, but no, he just came in and played high-level football, and he gave the 49ers a pretty special season, even though it ended, unfortunately on a sour note due to his injury, but he played well.
Honestly, when I saw him play against Notre Dame in 2019 in the Camping World Bowl, I was like, man, like, is this guy really that good? I mean, I know he was under pressure like a lot that game because their offensive line couldn't hold up.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, really? I mean, and then I saw him at 2020 and he did look a bit better. So I'm like, okay. And then they went 7-6, and I'm like, all right. And then I saw he got picked, and I was like, okay, good for him. He got picked in the draft. But my goodness, man. Brock Purdy, the guy's a gamer, man. He's a gamer. Similar to Stetson Bennett. I mean, the guy just keeps going and going, even though he probably doesn't have the most talent. He got everything out of that talent this season for the San Francisco 49ers. And he won every game that he was able to finish, so hats off to Brock Purdy, man. And hats off to Kyle Shanahan for getting the most out of him. Just such an impressive job and an impressive season for him.
And, not to count the chickens before they're hatched, but he will lead San Fran to a Super Bowl.
Mm.
Well, him and Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk and Debo Samuel and Georgia the Jungle Kittle.
Mm-hmm. Along with that defense too.
Oh, for sure.
Can't forget about the defense, man. That defense is fantastic.
Mr. Bosa, man, I would not want to get on his bad side. I tell you right now.
Woo! No way.
No, you don't want to make him mad. But I guess it's onward to our next guy for the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Oh, man, Kenneth Walker, the Fud, who was drafted at the second round from Michigan State. I tell you what, he was a fantastic draft steal. I mean, the Seahawks, man, I want whoever is making these draft decisions in Seattle, I want them. I want them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
I mean, you look at Kenneth Walker, I mean, he's part of the reason, that Michigan State, he's basically the reason, but you trying to be fair. There's other players in the team. They went 11-2 because Kenneth Walker was incredible. He transferred in from Wake, and he just lit it up for Mel Tucker. Mel Tucker gets, the big contract extension, and they go 5-7. That's another discussion for another day. But this guy on the screen right here, Kenneth Walker, is the reason that Michigan State was that good that year. And he was a steal. And he has performed at a high level in his rookie year. He is a great running back that just 2 short years ago, no one even thought of. He was, not, one of the best running backs in college. He was just, another running back. And then he goes to Michigan State and he just bursts onto the scene. I mean, he just out of nowhere. Like you're like first, second game of the year, and you're already talking about Kenneth Walker. Wow, this guy, he's running everywhere. And then he just kept going on and on and on. And I mean, he obviously he's showing he can do it in the NFL as well. And if he keeps playing at this high of a level, he could be great and have an awesome NFL career. And he definitely deserves consideration to win Rookie of the Year because he had a great season.
Oh, man, he's going to be fantastic for the Seahawks. Although I feel bad for those Cardinals and the Rams and the 49ers because they are going to have to deal with this guy twice a year. I do not want to be on the bad side of Kenneth Walker III. I'll tell you that right now.
The thing for me for running backs is that is it really them? Are they that good? Or is it their offensive line? And that's what I have with running backs. I'm like they drafted this guy that high, even though he's a running back and he had a great offensive line. But with Kenneth Walker, man, it's like the guy's just an animal out there getting those extra yards off the tackle. And just like the defensive guys, he just made that seamless transition. Like he did just as well in the pros as he did in college, and like that's just unheard of for so many people. And he's their Marshawn Lynch replacement, man. I mean, maybe Marshawn's a little more tough and Kenneth is a bit more speed. But yeah, definitely Seattle fans gotta be excited with their young talent with him and Tariq. So
oh, man, he is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Also, Mel Tucker better be kissing his feet, man. I mean, that money.
I want to say that's actually what I was gonna lead up to. I was like, yeah, he got the contract, due to this. Nah, I didn't want to say it. There's other players on the team, but it's like, man, you get the contract and then oops, 5-7. Kenneth Walker's gone. He's not walking through your door anymore. The transfer portal, man, you can strike gold every now and then.
Oh, man, I tell you what, though, Tyreek Woolen and Kenneth Walker are, they are keeping the Seattle Seahawks alive and amplified in the playoff race for future years to come, man. I tell you what.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Man, Garrett Wilson.
Wilson.
Yeah, I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, Mr. Wilson did come from Ohio State University, which is wide receiver university. So I mean, he's great. I mean, Chris Olave had a really good season as well in his rookie year, but Garrett Wilson even better. And I mean, again, the New York Jets need players like this. They just do because they've been bad for a while. And with all these players that they're getting that are really good and they're panning out per se. They're not coming into the league and they're busts or anything like that. They're coming in and they're playing really good football. That gives good signs for a pretty good future for the Jets. If they can just get the quarterback situation figured out. But Garrett Wilson, I mean, he went through the quarterback controversy, all season long that, the Jets had. You had all the quarterback injuries to their quarterbacks all season long. Zach Wilson was down. And you had to even have Joe Flacco out there at times. I mean, Joe Flacco's out there throwing passes, and Garrett Wilson's still putting up really good numbers. So he had a great season in his own right. And like with all these, it's just so tough to pick who should be the rookie of the year.
Oh, man, he's had to have Joe Wacko and Zach Wilson as quarterbacks and, Mike White.
Oh, yeah, Mike White. I was blanking on his name. I kept trying to say,
champ.
Injuries to their quarterback, Zach Wilson and Flacco, the other guy, Mike White. That's it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Garrett Wilson, though, he's done a fantastic job despite the fact that he's dealt with a situation that's not his fault. But I tell you what, though, maybe if he gets somebody that goes on Pat McAfee every Tuesday, he might have a very fantastic 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
Here's
yeah.
the thing that I gotta ask you guys.
Oh, man. There we go. But, yeah, Garrett Wilson's been fantastic in 2022. I mean, 1,003 yards in receiving, man. That I'm not mistaken, it's 1,103 receiving yards.
I have a question for you guys.
What's that?
Can you guys even name another good receiver that the Jets have had? Like, I can't think of anyone that's made the Pro Bowl or anything.
Yeah, it's been a while. To Edward's point, he says Aaron Rodgers already said he's not going to the Jets or 49ers. Yeah, I was just answering Jackson's because I knew what he's talking about with, coming on the Pat McAfee show and everything. But, yeah, I do have a hard time seeing him going there.
Yeah, he's
Edwards
probably
said
going to
Robbie
Vegas.
Anderson.
I mean, was Antonio Holmes there a few years? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
I know they were then the Redskins got Santana Moss from the Jets, and he was awesome.
Santana Moss, man. Man, we're going way back when.
Yeah.
I just can't think of any that were top 10. But yeah. All right. Moving on.
So then I guess
we gotta do our pick.
Oh, yeah. Well, my decision was already made before the list was out. And sorry, Garrett Wilson. Sorry, Kenneth Walker. But I got to go with Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Relevancy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I want to pick Kenneth Walker or Garrett Wilson. But, I mean, Brock Purdy coming in and playing the way he did. I know he got hurt, and that kind of stings. But, yeah, I think Brock Purdy should win it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a sweep with Brock Purdy. And now that since we all said Brock Purdy, it's not going to be him because that's how it works on our show.
Yeah, we need it. We need a buck on Mike or Austin.
Well, buck on Mike picks Garrett Wilson. Yeah.
Okay, more safe.
He picked Hutch as well. He agreed with me in the defense.
Now, if you had said Sauce, I would have said Hutchinson. So
yeah.
Either way you go, I mean, it. I had no idea, man.
Yeah.
Edwards points 8 games versus 16 games is interesting. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's a good argument. I don't know.
We're going with the best assistant coach And our first one is Ben Johnson, who is the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions.
Oh man, Ben Johnson, he's been so fantastic at the Detroit Lions. It's just he's done such a great job in his first year as offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's a shame they didn't make it to the playoffs. But I tell you what, though, they showed the Packers a thing or two on how it works in the NFC North.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was so good. There were a lot of teams recommending him to be their Nets head coach, but then Mr. Johnson decided, I'm going to stay here and run it back in 2023, see if I can win this division. But I'm going to tell you right now, if the Detroit Lions win the NFC North division, that man, Ben Johnson, is one of the reasons why.
I mean, he's done a great job. The Detroit Lions offense was way better. And I know a lot of people, are not Jared Goff fans. I mean, we have heard that, tons of times, but he played well this year. And Detroit's not fixed. There's still issues with Detroit. I mean, they still need a lot, of player improvement on both sides of the ball. I still think the offensive line needs a lot of help. But I mean, Ben Johnson, got as much as he could out of the offense. Jared Goff had a good season. And just overall, they were just so much better. They were actually a fun team to watch, for the first time in a long time. I mean, since Matthew Stafford and Golden Tate and Calvin Johnson, you know what I'm saying? Like back probably 8-9 years ago. I mean, at least, the lines weren't great, but I mean, they were at least watchable, or they were fun to watch at the very least. And now the Detroit Lions have that again. So it is nice to see. And if Ben Johnson keeps, having the Lions play at this high of a level on offense, he will be a head coach.
I mean, like the total yards per game on offense with Ben Johnson as offensive coordinator, they were 4th in the league in offense, right? And in the passing yards per game, they were 8th in passing yards per game. Oh man, that was just fantastic right there.
Mm-hmm.
And 5th in points per game.
Mm.
That is impressive. He's got that offense in the top 10. And in the running yards per game, I believe he's had them, on the cusp of the top 10. I mean, that alone is impressive. But, if you look at the 2021 stats, they weren't even in the top 10 as far as I can remember. Mm-hmm. But 2022, he's got that offense in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how big is that?
I mean, I feel like Jared Goff looks better this year with the Lions than he ever did with Sean McVay. What do you guys say to that, or do you think that's going too far?
Yeah, that's like a 50-50. I mean, on the one hand, I mean, at times, yes. But then on the other hand, he had moments, at the Rams. He had moments, that they were, he was good and they were solid. So I would say probably 50-50, maybe slightly leaning toward maybe he's better this past season.
Tim says, great job, Will, Jeffrey, and Jackson. You almost make me interested in the NFL again. Almost. Well, hopefully we can get you interested in the NFL again. Because, the NFL in the next year or so is going to be really fun. That I can guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see what's going to make it fun is the Detroit Lions winning the NFC North in 2023. Oops, that's my way too early prediction.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Yeah.
Going with the bold predictions, man, in early February, and the season's not even over yet. I mean, hey.
Hey, I mean, they're keeping this guy as OC, man. He's not going anywhere, and Dan Campbell is doing a fantastic job over in Detroit, man.
I can see it. I mean, the fact that one can see it suggests how far the Lions have come.
Yeah, and the Vikings, man, we know how they are with Kirk Cousins. I mean, they're not world beaters. I mean, they were always in a tight game in 2022, which means they're going to have a down year in 2023. The Packers keep doing the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again. And the Bears, well, they're just treating Justin Fields like the Lions did the Matt Stafford. But I'll tell you
Maybe
what,
worse.
yeah,
I feel like the Lions got screwed out of that playoff game against the Cowboys. Don't you think that the refs did them dirty?
oh yeah. Don't they always do the Lions dirty, as far as I recall?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that one Hail Mary pass against the Packers basically showed that.
Yeah. I mean, then the football god said, "You know what, Cowboys? We screwed your opponents in a playoff game, so we'll screw you in a playoff game." So I thought that was justice. What happened? I mean, sorry, Des, but that was justice. I thought.
I mean, the thing is, man, is that calls, are questionable. I mean, sometimes it kind of gets to a point where it's like, hey, I mean, it seems to be tilting one team versus the other. But I mean, nothing was as bad as the Saints, call. That was the worst with the interference that wasn't called. But I mean, Dez, I felt bad for Dez, even though, to your point with the Lions game. So, I mean, it's kind of like I feel bad for every team that gets, kind of slated, per se, in a game when, it shouldn't, the call shouldn't have been the way it was. And, the referees made a bad call or several bad calls, like the Chiefs Bengals, this past game, there was a lot of bad calls. But, I mean, also you could look at, well, the Bengals still could have won. A lot of these teams could have won anyway. But it is what it is. I mean, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. But, I mean, to your point, teams, it always seems finally, when they get a bad call going against them or a good call goes their way, eventually it's going to be the opposite. So it always, comes back to bite you when you get help or a call goes your way that shouldn't.
Oh, yeah. Oh, DeMeco Ryans, the Bama man. Oh, man, he's been doing a fantastic job over in San Francisco to the point that he parlayed that into a top-notch head coaching job at the Houston Texans. Oh, man.
God bless his heart for going to the Houston Texans, man. That's going to be a tough job.
Well, I'm just real quick. I know we're talking about DeMeco Ryans, but what do you guys think about why did the Houston Texans hire Lovie Smith for a year and then fire him? Why?
I don't know.
It was just a wasted year. I mean, you hire.
I think honestly, that's the last time they're firing a guy, after 1 year. It's going to be like with the San Francisco 49ers. 2015, they had Jim Tomsula as their head coach. Fire him after 1 year. Mm-hmm. Then they have Chip Kelly for 1 year. Then they fire him. And then they realize, maybe we shouldn't do that. Let's hire this guy named Kyle Shanahan. And bam, they've been doing awesome since then.
Well, I mean,
I think that's the same effect we're going to see with Houston.
When you continue to fire coaches after 1 year, you're never going to get any better.
True, but I think they're done with that, to be honest. Because, I mean, DeMeco Ryans is going to lead Houston to awesomeness, especially in the draft, and they're going to get Bryce Young in the 2023 draft. That I can predict for sure. And, the AFC South, it's going to be a tug of war between Jacksonville and Houston. Tennessee, unfortunately, it's going down, down, down. But Colts, they're, the Colts. Trying to be that third retirement home in the NFL, but they are obviously failing at that so far. But the Texans, though, I think they're going to learn from their mistakes from past years, and they are going to thrive. They are showing this thus far by hiring DeMeco Ryans, but but all that aside, the 49ers defense, oh man, it was fantastic. Fantastic with DeMeco Ryans.
Yeah.
They were first in yards allowed. They were first in yards allowed per game. I mean, that was just big in of itself. I mean, that's not a guy I want to mess with, DeMeco Ryans.
Yeah, I think that with D'Amico Ryans, I mean, I hope it works out with Houston because I mean he did a fantastic job this past year with the 49ers. I mean, they have a lot of talent, on the defensive side of the ball, but you also have to have the talent play well and you have to have good schemes, and he does. And the 49ers had, statistically the best defense in the NFL in most categories this season. And D'Amico Ryans, deserves a head coaching job for what he has done. I mean, when you, as a coordinator, do an elite job at your position, you do deserve a head coaching job. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's how you move up. And I'm glad for him that he's getting a head coaching job. Unfortunately, it's the Texans, and I really hope that the Texans, to your point, Jackson, they're not going to fire him after a year like Lovey. Keep him longer.
Or David Culley.
Yeah, and let him have time to have a chance to build something down there, because you don't want to hire D'Amico Ryans and give him a year or two and then say, well, we're still at the bottom. Let's just go in and get rid of him and fire him. I mean, no coach is going to be able to fix the Texans unless you give them time. The Texans are in awful shape. You're not going to be able to turn it around immediately. The other teams in the NFL are playing much better football than you. They have much better players than you right now. So please, Houston Texans, do not fire D'Amico Ryans after a year. Give him time. But he did a fantastic job with the 49ers. He's a big reason why they were the best defense in the NFL this past year. And I wish him a lot of success at the Texans and hope that the Houston Texans give him time.
Well,
yeah, he really turned Nick Bosa into like one of the better players, into an elite player.
Mm-hmm.
So he is scary. He's not someone that I would want to be the offensive lineman on the other side of the line for.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So who do we think is going to get Caleb next year? Who do you think will tank?
Oh, I don't know, to be honest. That's a very good question. Dolphins?
No, they like to.
I don't know, man. Colts. I'm just taking a guess here, to be honest. I mean,
maybe Colts would be is a good guess.
I mean, it's almost impossible to project, but yeah, I think that spot the Cardinals. Maybe, you never know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but last I checked, the Cardinals are basically the retirement home of the NFL, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't know why a team wants to be the retirement home. I mean,
that would be a good. That's a good
Packers,
call. Good call, Troy.
But I don't know why a team wants to take older quarterbacks. I mean, obviously, sometimes they work out. I mean, like the Broncos getting Peyton Manning after his injury, but like that's different. I mean, you had a great defense, and Peyton Manning was elite. I mean, you didn't know how he was going to play after the injury, but he was elite. I mean, it's different when you're taking a guy, like Matt Ryan, who was already not playing as well at the Falcons. And then you take him, Colts, and then your offensive line is horrible, and you get a quarterback that can't move, and he just gets destroyed all season. I mean, like, that doesn't make any sense. If you're going to take an older quarterback, he has to either fit your system, he's still playing at a high level, or if he's not a mobile quarterback because he's older or whatever, he never really ran anyway, you got to be able to protect him.
But yeah, that's gonna be really good to figure out. Packers, well, who knows? Maybe they're sick of Jordan Love already.
Well, I mean, Jordan Love, I still, obviously it is impossible to tell, how a quarterback's going to perform, coming out of college. But I mean, I was never like completely sold on him anyway. I was hoping he would do well, but the only reason why to me it made sense was because you were drafting him to develop behind Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers has been there for years, longer than Jordan Love's been drafted. So he's had the time to develop behind Aaron Rodgers. So hopefully he can, come out there and play. But I mean, he hasn't shown anything yet, so I don't know. It's gonna be interesting
for sure.
But DeMeco Ryans a great defensive coordinator this past season. It's fantastic.
We have Steve Steichen for the Eagles. That I'm sure he played a huge role in Jalen Hurts' development into to at least a top half quarterback, top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you got Devontae Smith and one of the best receiver that the Titans traded away because they didn't want to pay him, A.J. Brown, I'm telling you right now, you're going to have the best offense in the NFL right there. You got Jalen Hurts as your quarterback, Devontae Smith, and A.J. Brown at your disposal. I tell you what, that's going to be really awesome. The tight end at the Eagles, that's just awesome. You're going to win, and they proved it this year.
Yeah, I think that with the Eagles, I mean, you look at their success this year. I mean, Jalen Hurts was a quarterback that coming out of college, from Alabama/Oklahoma, a lot of, experts were weary of him, that, he's not going to perform at a high level. He's not built for the NFL. He can't throw, at a high enough level, even though he's capable of it. But he didn't have the, elite passing skills, and he was a good running quarterback. But how running quarterbacks are, they get hurt, and then over time their season just kind of derails, or and their career derails. So I think that the development of Jalen Hurts is really great to see, because a lot of people doubted him and a lot of people thought he wouldn't, ever become a great quarterback. And obviously he's still not, there, but he at like the elite level, but he's young. He has many years left ahead of him, and his passing is getting better and better. And to Jackson's point, I mean, bringing in A.J. Brown was the greatest decision the Philadelphia Eagles could have ever made. Because, I mean, Devontae Smith is awesome. But if he's one guy, you can stop one guy. You can't stop two elite receivers. I mean, that's why Miami was great when Tua was healthy, because you had Tyreek Hill, you had Jalen Waddle. You can't stop both of these guys. So you can't stop A.J. Brown, you can't stop Devontae Smith. Plus, you got Jalen Hurts' legs. Plus, you have Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell, who are both awesome running backs.
Boston Scott as well at fullback.
So you have a team full of weapons. And then you build your offensive scheme
What's up,
around
man?
the
What's
talent
up,
that you
Mike?
have.
Hope everything's going well.
Yeah, thanks for commenting, Buckeye Mike. Thank you. But I mean, you build the offense around what you have, and he did that. He utilized Jalen Hurts' legs, he utilized his arm, and he utilized the receiving core they had, and the running backs that they had, all the talent, and they put together a great offense. So, did a really good job.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Jason Kelce in that O-line also.
Oh, yeah, man. Dallas Goedert as your tight end, that's awesome too.
He's really good as well. I mean, they just have great players. I mean, they've done a great job getting good talent in.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Thank you. We'll keep the cause. Well, you have to take your little break. We'll keep it going.
Can't wait to see you back, man. Thanks for coming in the chat. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this guy did a good job, like, not messing it up. Like, I'm not trying to be mean to him or anything. I'm sure he's smart. But with all that talent, I don't know. Well,
I mean, you're right, Will. I mean, it literally, when you have like all the talent in the world on a team, I mean, it literally is not messing it up. I mean, you just can't be awful. It's like with Alabama coordinators, you just can't be bad. Or Georgia coordinators at this point, you just can't be bad. As long as you're good or better, then that's good enough when you have all the talent that you could possibly, use. I mean, that's all you got to do. And I feel that he definitely achieved that. The Eagles were really good on offense this year, and they should have been. So he did it good.
Yeah. So our pick for the best assistant coach.
I'm going to be honest. I'm picking Ben Johnson to be my choice, man. Because, I mean, That the job he's done in his 1 year as offensive coordinator. I mean, wow.
Yeah, that's also my pick too.
But, like the Eagles, like their OC, he's a candidate, but you're supposed to win with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts, the Bama Sooner, man.
You guys remember how they got Devontae Smith in the draft?
Oh, man.
Remember that last game, that Week 17 game?
Oh, man.
With the Commanders, and they put in the third-string quarterback.
That was
It paid off.
It paid off for him, man. I mean, I was laughing at the time.
Mhm.
I'm like, this crappy team's going to the playoffs, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm it's torn between Ben Johnson and D'Amico Ryans, because on the one hand you've got Ben Johnson, he's done a fantastic job, turning the lines around on offense. But then with D'Amico Ryans, he got a head coaching job because of how great he was. So I mean, I really want to go Ben Johnson, but I'll take D'Amico Ryans.
Going with the Bama man, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
But it's like this.
Well, you're
I mean,
now the
that's
deciding
fair,
vote.
Edward. Dallas has talent too, but I also just don't like the Eagles, so I'm trying not to keep my bias, but I probably am showing a little bias.
The second that you say one negative thing about a team, or like it's not positive, then everyone's like, "Oh, you're biased, or you don't like this team." It's so difficult. You just about straight down the middle. I love every team; they're all great.
Mm-hmm. But as Mike said, please subscribe if you're enjoying us talking some football.
Absolutely.
And we try to be consistent with the start time, but if you keep that notification bell on, it'll notify your phone every time there's a new video. So, yeah, that really helps us out.
Yeah, it definitely helps, man, because trust me, it's
Click that notification bell, click the like.
It's tough.
And click the subscribe button as well. That definitely helps.
Oh, yeah.
It most definitely helps.
Mm-hmm.
But
and
yeah,
also Mike showing off his Eagles fandom.
Oh man. But yeah, who's your pick?
Yeah, it's funny that he's from Ohio, loves Ohio State, and technically the Cleveland Browns, but he also likes the Philadelphia Eagles. That's funny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I said D'Amico Ryans, if you're asking me.
I picked Ben Johnson.
Oh, I was asking Will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
picked. He agreed with you.
Yeah.
Ben. You went with D'Amico too, Will?
No, I said Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson.
Oh, you said Ben Johnson. Woohoo! All right.
Yeah. So Mike also picked D'Amico. So we're 2-2.
Yeah. I mean, I love D'Amico, but you got a talented defense. So, I mean, I'm not trying to understate what he's been doing. He's done a fantastic job. But Ben Johnson, that offensive jump in 2022 is just too big for me to ignore.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Coach of the Year.
Oh man, Brian DePaul. Oh man,
the Giants under Joe Judge were the laughing stock of the league.
I mean, they were like doing a quarterback sneak on the 1 yard line with Joe Judge. Like, seriously, who doesn't? And it's like on their own 1 yard line. Like, have you been like under substance? You can't be doing that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. It was embarrassing, and I was laughing. But I'm not laughing at the Giants now, man. They're definitely going in the right direction.
No, they've been doing a fantastic job. He's made Daniel Jones look like one of the best quarterbacks. I mean, do you know how hard that is to do? Mm-hmm. I mean, wow. And, he's gotten Saquon Barkley back on the up and up. All right. It's just fantastic with the job he's done. I mean, that first game against the Giants, when they, took a risk on that 2-point conversion against the Titans, that was a sign of good things to come for the Giants. I didn't know it then, but little did I know it was going to be a fantastic year for the New York Giants.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Brian Dable's done a great job. The Giants were an awful team. I mean, the Eli Manning days were long gone, and they were horrible. They were essentially what the Texans are right now. But they're better. I mean, they are a team that, like the Lions, you can actually turn on and actually see some good football. It's enjoyable to watch, and it's great to see because they've been bad for a few years, and I think that what Brian Dable's done should not be understated or undervalued. It's really incredible. I mean, a lot of people don't believe in Daniel Jones, and a lot of people still don't. But he's he made him have a good season. The whole team, the coordinators, everybody, in that organization. Daniel Jones had a good season, and just on both sides of the ball, they were better. So did a really good job.
Yeah. I mean, also putting together the game plan to defeat the Vikings. Like, I know the Vikings were. I mean, after the game, like everyone was saying, the Vikings are frauds, but they still won a lot of games. And to be able to go into the hostile environment with the clapping, like the hoop and all that, and pull off that win is impressive for sure. So yeah, great season for the Giants. I hope they regress, but can't help but tip my cap to them, man. I mean, they were like the Eagles in 2017. Like, I didn't really hate the Eagles that year as much because they were likable underdogs. But this year, I can't stand Nick Sirianni, and that's the main thing that really do not like about the. I don't know. That guy rubs me the wrong way. All right.
I'll step our next candidate. Doug Peterson.
P.
Oh, man, he's done a fantastic job in 2022. I mean, do you know how underwhelming that Jaguars roster was? I mean, it was just, yuck. And I mean, they don't exactly have any star receivers, let's be real here, but he made them look like as if they are champions right there. I mean, they're 3-7 going into week 12. They beat the Ravens, and after that little tail whipping at Detroit by the Lions, they basically go and terrorize the Tennessee Titans at Tennessee. And I felt it then. I was like, okay, the Titans are collapsing, and what the Jaguars are going to do is take over the town in the AFC South. And guess what? They rattled it off with another victory over the Cowboys. They beat the Jets on Amazon Prime. They shellacked the Texans. And then on Saturday night on ESPN and ESPN Plus, ABC, they beat up on the Titans again. Then we have one of the largest comebacks in playoff history against the Chargers, man. It was just, I mean, you can take the Chargers out of San Diego, but you can't take the San Diego out of them, right? That's for sure. But the Jaguars, they were down 27-7 right there. But then they win 31-30. I mean, it was a fantastic comeback by Jacksonville. And then they keep it close with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, nobody in Jacksonville thought they were going to be able to keep it tight with the Chiefs. Heck, they thought they were just going to basically survive, so to speak. They were just happy to survive. But the fact that they made it to the divisional playoffs, I'm going to tell you right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars have a beautiful future ahead of them. And that's, all thanks to Trevor Lawrence and all thanks to, most importantly, Doug Peterson, the head man in charge.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants last year were the laughing stock of the NFL. The Jaguars, they're like that really, I don't know, just like that person, they did something really bad. And you look at them and you're like, ugh, that was the Jaguars last year. I mean, just embarrassing. And Dougie P, Like when my Commanders barely beat them, I'm like, all right, it's going to be a long season. We barely beat the Jaguars. But
Mhm.
by the end of the year, along with that beautiful win in Philadelphia, those were
Mhm.
probably the two best wins the Commanders had all season.
Right.
So
But you look
yeah,
at
just
the Jaguars this year. I mean, all I can say is that you had the Urban Meyer, fiasco last year that did not work out. Just like with Lovie Smith, 1 year didn't do anything, and then you bring in Doug Peterson, and experienced guy, and he just completely fixes the Jaguars. I don't know how long this is. If it's going to be like fixed down the road, like they're permanently fixed and they're just going to keep getting better, which could definitely be the case, or they're going to get worse again. I definitely think they're going to continue to be a better team in the future. But I mean, they were 3-7, like you guys have said, and then bam, they just turn it around. And I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a great player, and a lot of people were starting to doubt Trevor Lawrence. Oh, is he actually, as good as, people were saying? Yes, he is. And the team, rallied around Trevor Lawrence. They rallied around the defense, played better, and Doug Peterson. He got everybody on board. We're gonna, especially it's almost like right when the Titans started to play worse, like you said, Jackson. It was like that's when the Jaguars saw an opportunity.
And they took
Because
it.
I'm not saying that the Jaguars would have, continued to play bad if not, but you just kind of feel like if the Titans run away with that division and they're like up big in that division, that maybe the Jaguars would have folded. I don't know if they would have or not, but if the Titans had built a big enough lead that there's no shot that the Jaguars could make the playoffs, that they might have given up. But the Titans, they left a crack open. The Jaguars took advantage of it, beat them in the final game of the regular season. Jaguars made the playoffs, won a game, and they've had a fantastic year. The turnaround's been unbelievable, and I'm going to be really interested in the future to see if the Jaguars can use this season as positive momentum for the future.
Oh, they will. They just need to get some star players to come over. Hey, I mean, come on, star player. You want to win? Come on over, Jacksonville. You get no state taxes, so there you go. Kyle Shanahan, oh man, he's done a great job at San Francisco. I mean, he loses his starting quarterback to an injury, ACL injury. Then he loses Jimmy Garoppolo to an injury. Then he gets Brock Purdy. Bam, they're winning, man. And when the 49ers traded for Christian McCaffrey, that's when they really started to pick up the pace right there. I mean, I'm just so impressed with the Niners and the fantastic season they've had under the difficult circumstances. I'm sorry that didn't result in an appearance in the Super Bowl and possibly winning it. But I'll tell you what, Mr. Shanahan, you'll be able to win a Super Bowl one of these days. You just got to learn from what you did, what you've been doing right, and what you've been doing wrong. You'll get one eventually, my friend.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan, I mean, it's unbelievable, the amount of things that have gone wrong for the 49ers this past season, and they just kept fighting through it. I mean, Trey Lance was supposed to be the guy. A lot of people questioned that. I did. I was like, you should have gone with Jimmy Garoppolo. But then Trey Lance gets hurt. And unfortunately, he never got a shot to, really show what he could do. Jimmy Garoppolo comes back and he plays. I mean, what is Jimmy Garoppolo? The whole argument with him, is he one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL? Is he a top 5 to top 10 quarterback? No, he's not, but he's good. He's just solid. So that's why, having him at quarterback, you saw that the 49ers were improving. And then he gets hurt. And unfortunately, that is the one knock on Jimmy Garoppolo. He has had an injury history. But then you bring in Brock Purdy, and it's like, really, I mean, he's not supposed to do anything. He's a rookie. He was the last pick of the draft. He's not supposed to do anything at all. And he comes in, and yes, the 49ers have all the talent that they could possibly have. I mean, and that's a big key. I mean, I agree that, when you have Deebo Samuel and you bring in Christian McCaffrey, genius move, again, by the 49ers, genius move. But you have all these players that any quarterback could succeed. I disagree with that. because, again, if you have a bad quarterback and you have all the talent in the world, it doesn't matter. You can still fail. But Brock Purdy came in. They got him rolling. He was playing at a high level. And that's a remarkable job by Kyle Shanahan. I will say, though, that if somehow, when Brock Purdy went down, Josh Johnson had to come in, and then the 49ers were still winning, then this guy easily wins, Coach of the Year. If somehow that happens, if he's able to win with Josh Johnson. But fortunately, they couldn't do it at that point. It was just too many losses at the quarterback position. Couldn't do anything about it. But had a great season for the 49ers, and with all the turmoil that they had and bringing in Christian McCaffrey, had a great season. He did a great job.
I mean, I do have things with Kyle Shanahan that I don't necessarily like. He did say that being the offensive coordinator with the Redskins was the worst thing he ever did. But I mean, that was a lot of that probably was because of Dan Snyder, and I can't really blame him for that. But yeah, I mean, did great. I mean, bringing in Christian McCaffrey was huge for him, but I mean, being able to get the 2 seed with playing like your third string rookie, Mr. Irrelevant quarterback, that's freaking awesome, man. And although the NFC West wasn't like what it used to be, not all the teams are great like they were before. Still impressive to being able to win all those games. Kind of embarrassed the Cowboys there, especially on that last play. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Kyle Shanahan, great job again. Keeps impressing.
For sure.
Yeah.
I guess we're ready to make our votes. I'm gonna go.
I think we got 3 great picks here, but I'm gonna have to go. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Dable. I feel like he had, but.
I thought you were going with Doug Peterson, to be honest.
I was between the two, but I feel like I don't know. I'll keep my gut.
I'm going with Doug Peterson. I mean, the fact that the Jaguars were the second team ever in the league to go from 4-8 to making it to the playoffs, that right there in of itself is Coach of the Year material right there. I mean, it came down between Shanahan and Peterson, and I love it. It was just so tough, but ultimately I had to go with the Jaguars because nobody expected the Jaguars to win the AFC South. 49ers, on the other hand, everybody kind of expected them to be in the NFC title game. So that's what it really just boiled down to. Mm-hmm. Shanahan, I like it. Keep doing awesome work. I'm sorry I didn't choose you for Coach of the Year. Nothing personal, man. Just business.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree with you, Jackson. I was literally on the fence same way with Shanahan or Peterson. And you look at Shanahan. I mean, again, the coaching, job that he did with the quarterback situation is incredible. But to your point, the 49ers were expected to be a good team. And yes, doing what he was able to do with Brock Purdy is unbelievable. But yes, the Jaguars were awful. And then Doug Peterson comes in and turns them around. So I got to go with Doug Peterson. It was close. I almost went with Shanahan because, again, what he did was amazing. But they still had all the talent in the world. And Brock Purdy did a great job. And he did a great job with him. But I'm going to go with Doug Peterson.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, Mike agreed with me. He also went with Brian Dable. So I think we all went different. Did we all go different?
I went Peterson. Jeffrey went Peterson.
Okay,
Willie.
And I went with Dable. So I guess we split then.
Yeah, Buckeye might went with Dable. So it was kind of just 2 for 2. 2-2, really.
Yeah. All right. On to comeback player of the year.
Oh man, Saquon Barkley. He's been so fantastic. I love what he's done all year. It was just people were down on him, just quick to just throw the baby out with the bathwater. Go, oh, he's a draft bust. He's a draft bust. No, he's not. No, he's not. And he's going to show you that he's not a draft bust in 2022. And he's not. He did really awesome in 2022. It's I mean, the plays he made, it was just fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jackson. I mean, you look at Saquon Barkley. I mean, he's fantastic. It's just injuries. I mean, injuries can derail anyone's career. And thankfully for Saquon Barkley, he's been given, more chances by the Giants. They didn't get rid of him. And he's finally back. And as long as he can stay healthy, he is really, really good. Christian McCaffrey had the same problem. I mean, they were literally comparing the two all season. How Christian McCaffrey for the Panthers was not playing. He was banged up. He was hurt. He was not playing. That's the reason the Panthers got rid of him. And they might live to regret that. Maybe they won't. But, I mean, when you have injuries and you're not reliable, unfortunately, they always say availability is the best ability. And for Saquon Barkley, when you're missing time, then people are going to be saying, oh, you're a bust. You're not a bust because of injuries. You're a bust when you play and you play badly. You're not a bust because of injuries. I will never in my life call someone a bust because they got hurt.
No.
They're out for ACLs and things that are out of their control. But
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley's come back and he's playing at an extremely high level again, better than he ever has. And I'm so glad that he is. I'm glad that he's back.
Oh, man, my man Barkley is 4th in the league this year. He was 4th in the league in rushing yards total. 1,312 yards. I mean, that is just so big. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, cue the Big Valley theme song music. Da, 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 na, 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 da, 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 da.
Do you guys remember that kick return he had against the Buckeyes?
Oh, man. He that was so awesome.
And then Buckeyes did come back to win that game, Troy. Don't be mad at me. But
I love that play Barkley made. I mean, I hate it they beat my Titans, but that game-winning 2-point conversion he made against the Titans, that was big. It was wow.
Thank you, Tennessee Balls for Life.
Thank you, Balls for Life. We appreciate you
You
watching
guys
the
helped
show.
make it a great show with all your comments. Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And thank
But
you
yeah,
for.
I knew that guy was gonna. Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
I knew he was going to be a special player. I was like, this guy's going to be a star after that one play. Like, he was great he was great the year before, but it just sucked that he kept getting injured. But yeah, I think he's back to where he belongs. I think he's one of the best running backs in the country. So,
For sure.
yeah, I think Saquon's going to keep doing Saquon things as long as he stays healthy.
Oh, I so look forward to Saquon in the coming years.
For sure.
I just hate that people are so down on him. But I tell you what, that Christian McCaffrey, though. Oh, man, Christian McCaffrey was really wonderful in 2022.
Yeah. That run that he had in the NFC Championship game for a touchdown, that was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, again, I've already referenced them with the Panthers. They might, end up regretting getting rid of him. But unfortunately, again, injuries. I mean, he was hurt. If he was not hurt for the Panthers, all those games, he would not have been traded. The Panthers would have kept him. But he goes to the 49ers, and he's healthy now, just like Saquon Barkley. He's not out for hamstring issues. He's not out. And that has been the big key for Christian McCaffrey. He's a fantastic running back. Proved it at Stanford, and he's proven it in the NFL. He is fantastic. But when you're not available, it's tough. And then people start to, doubt you and say that you're not as good as you are. And again, injuries should not be a reason, but people do. But Christian McCaffrey's healthy now, and he's now at the 49ers, and he's done a fantastic job, showing the NFL world again that he is an elite running back. He had a great season. I mean, his dual threat nature, catching balls out of the backfield and running the ball at the middle, he's one of the best, at both.
Oh, man. Yeah, he's been really wonderful. I mean, but I tell you what, though, when you have other guys on offense such as Ayuk and George Kittle and Debo, you're bound to win big games and you're bound to have a lot of help. I love what McCaffrey has done in the 2022 season. I hate that things weren't going so well for him in Carolina, but at least he's going to do very well in San Fran, and he's going to get a Super Bowl pretty soon. I have a good feeling that he's going to get a Super Bowl either maybe 2023, maybe 2024, but either way, he's getting a Super Bowl real soon.
Mm-hmm. So I like the way that Christian McCaffrey plays. He's a tough guy. Obviously, the injuries suck. I still can't get over the fact that he knocked my Fighting Irish out of the playoffs in 2015. That was a really traumatizing experience that I had, man. Because the defensive play calling by Brian Van Gorder really didn't help my Irish. But yeah, when they got that field goal.
I don't know if that's a reason to, not particularly like a player, though, man.
Well, it's painful memories, man. Painful memories.
He's a great player. For people that like the Panthers or are stuck watching the Panthers every week on TV, it hurts that McCaffrey's gone, but I'm still watching him on TV with the 49ers and enjoying watching him play. It is what it is. Panthers are the ones that made the move.
I still just remember watching the Irish players cry after that. It hurt. That loss hurt.
It's like 8 years ago.
Oh, man.
I don't remember these games, man. I remember the 2011 Michigan collapse at the Big House so clearly.
Yeah. Don't remind me about the 2009 or the 2010 games against Michigan. Oops, my error.
Those
How's that an oops
too,
when you
but
meant to say it?
the 2011 one.
Yeah, I said too much.
But 2011 was the worst. 2011 made me never root for Michigan again.
Oh man. But yeah, it's
man, Edward with the shots fired, man. It's okay, Will. Don't Notre Dame don't play well in the college football playoff anyway. He saved you some heartache.
That team was the most talented Notre Dame team I've ever seen play.
For sure.
But the defensive play calling that Brian Van Gorder had, I could have done a better job. I seriously felt like all three of us, if we were the defensive coordinator for Notre Dame, could have made better play calls than Brian freaking Van Gorder, man.
And man, just take me back to 2015, 11-year-old me, man.
Notre Dame OC called this man Will Indeed.
You would have been better than Brian Van Gorder.
Hey, Notre Dame, if you're watching this stream, call Will Indeed. He's one of the best as OC. Hello, who am I speaking to? You're speaking to Will Indeed. Do you want the OC job? Yes, absolutely. What do you think, Will? Would you like the OC job?
I'll give it to Joe Brady.
Okay. Would you like to be assistant to Joe Brady?
I'll give him his Gatorade. Like, if he wants water, I'll pour him a cup of water, man. Like, as long as I get to go to all the games, that'll be fun.
There we go.
As long as they'll allow me to drink 3 or 4 chugs of Gatorade, and then it's worth it, along with going to all the games. Because if not, I don't want to have dry mouth while I'm letting them wet their whistle. I want to get some drinks.
Oh man.
Look at this clown. Freaking idiot.
Oh man. Are we on our did we get our
all right, let's go to the last one. We got off track there. I had a Brian Van Gorder memory.
Yeah. Memories.
We probably would have beaten the Buckeyes if we would have had Kirby Smart instead. But we lost that game too. All right. Geno Smith. I'm happy for Geno, man. Everyone said he was a bust. Geno Smith sucks. Geno Smith's a bust. He's terrible. And look at him, man. A Pro Bowler.
Hey, man. Hey, the Pro Bowl. I could play in the Pro Bowl right now. You know, like that you put the best players in the league in the Pro Bowl, and you're out there. You got 20 yards of space, between the defender and the receiver. I think I could make them passes. There's only one lineman coming after me. I think I could maybe scramble away and have enough time to throw. The Pro Bowl's easy now.
Yeah.
But for Geno Smith, I mean, hey, the West Virginia guy that threw for 600 yards and all those touchdowns in that infamous game, I mean, it's nice to see him, have a bounce back, to his career. Because, I mean, he was forgotten. No one remembers Geno Smith. He was like, oh, that's the guy that threw for 600 yards against West Virginia. Well, now he's the Pro Bowler. He got to play in the Pro Bowl, even though it's the Pro Bowl now, not the Pro Bowl then, when it was in Hawaii and it was cool.
Yeah.
But for Geno Smith, I was, happy for him that he had a good season with the Seahawks. I mean, they kind of did taper off a bit toward the end. He wasn't playing as well toward the end of the season as he was at the beginning, but he still had a great year and at least gives, his future prospects of his career, the last 5 to 6, 7 years maybe that he has left playing in the NFL, that he could be a starting level quarterback with the Seahawks. So it's good for him. It's good for the Seahawks. And it was really nice to see for the former West Virginia quarterback, Geno Smith.
Oh, yeah. Geno's done a fantastic job this year. But, like that week 1 game against the Broncos, I didn't think anything about it. I was thinking more about, the Broncos should have won this game. But I should have known after that game that the Seahawks were going to be something special in 2022. And they most certainly were. One of the reasons Tyreek Woolen, Kenneth Walker was another reason, and Geno Smith was another big reason. I mean, he was one of the main reasons why the Seahawks got in the playoffs. I mean,
unfortunately, they ran into the buzzsaw that was the 49ers with healthy Brock Purdy.
Yeah, man. I mean, he was like a punchline at one point, Geno Smith. They're like, oh my gosh, this quarterback looks like Geno Smith, how bad he's playing. And I mean, everyone's failed at the Jets. Like, the Jets haven't had a good quarterback.
That's why the Panthers took Sam Darnold, because they thought it was just because he was at the Jets, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the last good Jets quarterback, Vinny Testaverde, was he even that good with the Jets? I mean, I feel like that's how far back.
It might be Joe Flacco.
Joe Wacko.
Man, I remember that was one of my first football memories, watching Joe Flacco highlights on SportsCenter when he's with Delaware. Man, those were the days.
Oh man,
good with the Jets. Oh really? Ooh,
yeah.
I remember that, man. Honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah. Well,
Thanks, Buck. I'm like, I had to throw that in. I mean, obviously Flacco's not it, but I mean, it's just funny.
Hopefully Geno can keep it going next year. I mean, he's got some great young players such as Kenneth Walker, Tariq Woolley. So
you've got DK Metcalf.
Oh, DK.
I mean,
man, yeah.
the tight end receiver.
I forgot about him, DK Metcalf. How could I forget about the Rebel DK Metcalf? He's awesome.
Edwards has Mark Sanchez.
That's a stretch. It's a stretch.
I mean, Mark
butt
Sanchez
fumble
had his moments. They were few and far between. But, I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, man, do you know how long they showed that on SportsCenter, the butt fumble? I mean, they showed that for 10 months straight, man. That was on the not top 10. It was like, on our not top 10, number 1 is Mark Sanchez at the butt fumble on Thanksgiving Day against the Patriots.
Yeah, it's like old news, but it's still relevant.
It's like, so much later that the old narrator had to take over. And now we have the number 1 top 10, not top 10 play, Mark Sanchez and the butt fumble on Thanksgiving Day.
I mean, I feel like his defense really helped him out, but he did make some plays and did make 2 AFC championships. So.
Yeah, as Troy points out, they got Lockett too. He's really good.
Oh man,
You know who they should still have if they didn't trade? AJ Brown.
Oh man.
Wait, no. Yeah. Freaking Titans.
But yeah. So I guess now we come to the decision where we make our decision on who we think should be comeback player of the year.
This is another tough one.
Yeah, this is really close for me because I mean,
Not-
you got Geno Smith. He had a good season, but it tapered off toward the end. Christian McCaffrey had a really good season as well. But I mean, the few games where the 49ers were trying to, bring him back on, he didn't put up a lot of stats in those games. And the few games he was still with the Panthers weren't really elite. I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley. Had a great season over the whole season, and coming off of a gruesome injury, he played well. So I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley.
I agree with you, my dude. I'm going with Saquon Barkley. I mean, it was just an easy choice for me. I mean, when you have Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I agree with you. Where Geno's really good, but I mean, still, to Jackson's point, they got really good players.
Yeah.
And he is a quarterback that's like 30, 31 years old. It's not like he's just now in the league. I mean, he's definitely I consider him for sure. I mean, I can definitely see him winning it, and I wouldn't be upset at all with the It's Saquon Barkley for me.
Yeah, I mean, Saquon Barkley won, Geno Smith 2, and Christian McCaffrey 3. Sorry, Christian, nothing personal. This is business. Sorry, Geno, this is business.
I gotta go with Geno, man. I mean, he was literally the joke of the NFL at one point, and Mike agrees with me. So, yeah.
I do understand the definition of comeback is that he wasn't doing anything in the NFL and then he played. I get the definition, but for Saquon Barkley, I mean, he had injuries, he's been having issues, and he just came back and played like he did before, if not better. So I mean, I can see both
for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, defensive player of the year. We're starting out with Nicky Bosa.
Oh man, Nicky Bosa, man. I'm so impressed with the stuff he's been doing this year.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's Nick Bosa, so, I mean, he's bound to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nick Bosa was elite this year. I mean, 18.5 sacks, played at an extremely high level. I mean, as we pointed out before, you don't want to be on the opposite side of the ball when he's playing. I mean, you're done if you don't get enough time. It is almost game over. So it's been really fun to watch him this season. And again, the 49ers defense as a whole, I mean, Fred Warner as well. I mean, just so many players on defense for the 49ers have been great. But Nick Bosa stood above them all, and he's just played great all year. It's great to see him healthy and playing well again.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Maggie Johnson Duncan says, good energy tonight. I like it. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for watching the show.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate you liking, commenting, subscribing, and putting those notifications on your channel.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I felt like Nick wasn't quite as good as Joey coming out of Ohio State. So I'm like, is he going to be, like, is he that good? Or is it just because he's Joey Bosa's brother that he's getting all this hype? But Nick has been even better than Joey in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which I think is impressive that he's really able to come out of his brother's shadow and show that, no, I'm the best Bosa. And, yeah, I mean, he was an animal against the Cowboys, man. And even against the Eagles, like, he had his moments, too.
Mm-hmm.
Although the Eagles just have more weapons, so it was a bit harder to defend. But, yeah, just a great year for Nick Bosa. And it showed as his team almost maybe went to the Super Bowl if Brock Purdy didn't get hurt.
I think it shows in this picture how good he is, man. I mean, those arms, man.
Yeah.
Oof. I mean, like I said, man, he is really good, and he hits
Mhm.
hard.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I would not want to be on his bad side. I feel bad for the Rams and the Cardinals, Seahawks. They have to deal with him
Mhm.
twice a year. So do not make Nick Bosa mad. Do not.
No.
He'll eat you like a chicken nugget.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Chris Jones for the Chiefs.
Oh man, he was really good, man. I'm impressed with Chris
Mhm.
Jones.
I mean, the
Mhm.
Chiefs' defense as a whole has been great this year. I mean, it's everyone talks about their offense, but the defense has been really good as well. And defense wins championships. So you look at the Super Bowl. I mean, it could come down to the defense for both teams. Which defense plays better? Even though the offense is important, but the defense is really going to matter. And like you said, Jackson, Chris Jones has played at a high level this year. I mean, it is so tough to be a defensive end, defensive tackle in the NFL because you have to fight through all the offensive linemen. Consistently play after play and get to the quarterback and get tackles, and it takes so much preparation, it takes so much hard work to get to be able to play at a high level. And Chris Jones has a great work ethic, and he is very consistent, and he's playing at a high level, and he had a great season for the Chiefs.
Yeah. I think it's more impressive that he does it for the Chiefs. Just because I feel like the Chiefs have so many quick scoring drives. It's like bang, 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 touchdown. Defense has to come right back onto the field
It's a great point.
after they got to stop. So I think it's kind of more impressive that he does it for the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So onward to our next one.
Mm-hmm.
Micah Parsons, man. He's done a fantastic job all year, especially against the Rams in Week 5, where he did just enough to get Defensive Honors Player of the Week. It was wow. And he had a part in basically ending the GOAT's career in the NFC wild card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, even as someone that doesn't like the Cowboys, you just have to respect Michael Parsons, man. You got to respect what he's been able to do. I mean, he won that game against Gardner Minshew at the end there, man. Like, he was an animal that whole game. Getting to our mustache legend. And, was it animal against Brady? Always does well against the Commanders. He's just a complete player, man, and he's going to be a problem for everyone in the NFC East to deal with for years. And I respect him, man, in the interviews as well. He seems like generally a good guy.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, Micah Parsons, I mean, he's a young guy. He hasn't even been in the NFL that long. And he is just unbelievable. I mean, 13 and a half sacks this season and 60-something tackles. It's just incredible. He just plays so hard on every play. And that is key. Like with the other, players on this list, you have to play at a high level to be a great player in the NFL every single play. Because if you take plays off, if some plays are not playing as hard, I mean, it's going to show up, and people are going to see that when you're playing hard every single play, even if you don't get to the quarterback, you're causing havoc. And you're helping your teammates maybe get to the quarterback, or you're just putting that pressure so they'll make a mistake. And that's been the key for Micah Parsons. He just puts so much pressure on the opposing team, like Nick Bosa. He's had a great season, and it is so tough to pick, this, award because all three have been fantastic. But Micah Parsons had a great season for the Cowboys.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But now comes the choice.
Studs. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go Micah Parsons for my choice.
I got to go Nick Bosa. It's close, though. I mean, they could all win.
True.
Yeah, for me, I literally was flipping a coin between Nick Bosa and Micah Parsons. It was so close, but I ended up going with Micah Parsons. It was so close though.
All right. I think it was 2-2 again. Like me and Mike both picked.
2-2. That's our theme for tonight. 2-2.
And for Offensive Player of the Year, Pat Mahomes. I mean, he is the best and most talented quarterback in the league right now. I think it showed that he was able to beat Joe Burrow injured, and which I mean they got a little help from the refs, but still incredible to win injured against your biggest rival.
I mean, like the way he was playing against the Jaguars, in the divisional playoffs after he got hurt, he would, and Jeffrey's gonna know this reference, and some people in the audience are definitely gonna know what I'm talking about by this reference. But he basically played like Chester Good at one point, just like running with the legs, just go, Best Daly, got to run for the first down. So it was just. That was impressive right there from Patrick Mahomes. And, those top plays, the underhanded catch, that the underhanded throw, it was like, wow. That was big.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he's been playing at an elite level for years now. I mean, I don't know what more needs to be said about Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he won a Super Bowl already. Lost one, to Tom Brady because he was hurt and didn't really have a shot. And this year he's hurt again in the postseason, but he's playing through it. I don't know if he's going to be able to win. I don't know if he's going to be able to win per se a Super Bowl on Sunday. Another one, if if his leg, his ankle's not 100%, he could definitely not be able to get the win. But the fact that he's been able to play with the injury is unbelievable. And before the injury, his stats are unbelievable. I mean, he's got 45 touchdowns and 12 picks this year. Man. I mean, he's got yards on the ground, 4 rushing touchdowns, so 49 total touchdowns. I mean, yeah, he's got 12 picks, but when you're throwing the ball so much, you're going to get picks. It's going to happen. So he's just playing at a high level. And I know that a lot of people would say that the Kansas City Chiefs offense is so good, and that's why, he plays so well and he's not actually that good. But you got to imagine that his running back is a 7th-round pick out of Rutgers, and Isaiah Pacheco. He's played well. I mean, the offensive line has protected him enough, but he's taking some hits. But he just finds a way to get out of potential sacks and scramble around. And yes, Travis Kelce is one of the best tight ends of all time, especially at receiving. But still, I mean, you got to get the ball to him. And
people wondered if he was going to do great without Tyreek Hill or not, if he was going to have that same level of greatness without Tyreek Hill. But he did, and, it was just, why people doubted Patrick Mahomes in the offseason, I really don't know.
And I agree, without Tyreek Hill, that was literally my next point. So me and you,
sorry.
Jackson, you're good, man. Me and you were completely spot on. That was the point I'm making, bringing that up. I mean, me and you completely agree. I mean, without Tyreek Hill, a lot of people were, starting to doubt, would the Chiefs offense still be good? Because, I mean, they have players that a lot of people are, undervaluing per se, throughout their careers. I mean, you got Kadarius Toney, you've got Juju Smith-Schuster, you've got Marcus Valdes-Scantling. I mean, some of these guys are not guys that are, supposed to be top-end receivers. Mecole Hardman. But they're playing well. And, I mean, they're living without Tyreek Hill, no big deal. So, I mean, it's just been, fantastic what Patrick Mahomes has done this year. It's been fantastic to watch. All the points Jackson made are completely correct. And I completely agree. I mean, that, a lot of people thought that the Chiefs would take a step back without Hill, but it didn't matter. And he had a great season.
On more to the next one, Jalen Hurts, the Bama Sooner, man. It's oh man, going into the 2020 draft, people were sitting there going, no, why are the Eagles drafting Jalen Hurts? I mean, why are they lazy in their drafting? Because they knew deep down he was the future. They knew enough that they overpaid Carson Wentz. And they were like, oh, we got to get this guy. Who's that guy at Oklahoma again? Jalen Hurts. Let's get him. And, he got him into the playoffs 2021. And, in the offseason, people were wondering, is Jalen Hurts, that good? Is he that good? Let's show him we have some faith in him. Let's go get A.J. Brown. And guess what? I mean, that week 2 game against the Minnesota Vikings, I mean, that right then and there basically showed people maybe we shouldn't doubt Jalen Hurts so much.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm just going to tell you right now, anybody that watched Jalen Hurts when he was at Bama and at Oklahoma, you're basically getting something special with Jalen. And I hope he wins a Super Bowl real soon. May that be this year, may that be next year. I don't know, but I really want to see him win a Super Bowl. He is so awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the guy's just a gamer, man. I mean, like, everyone doubted Jalen Hurts after the first year. They're like, no, he's not going to get the guy to get Philly over the top. Like, they got to draft a new quarterback. He's not good enough.
For sure.
Yeah, and he proved everyone wrong, man. I mean, made the playoffs last year. Now he's going to the Super Bowl. I mean, whether you like it or not, and I don't like it because I'm not an Eagles fan.
No. Even if I weren't a Bama fan, I'd still be happy about, Jalen doing awesome the way he is.
Yeah. I mean, with Jalen Hurts, it's one of those things where you had to see it, and he's playing well. And I mean, part of it is we talked about this with a lot of these players is the talent around. A player really helps, and getting A.J. Brown was one of the best decisions the Eagles could have ever made. Pairing him with Devontae Smith, and you've got great running backs, Miles Sanders, and then you've got Dallas Goedert as well at tight end. Just overall, you just look at their team. Kenneth Gainwell, the other running back. I mean, they have a good offense, and their defense, I mean, is one of the best in the NFL. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Hassan Ray. They just have a really great team. So Jalen Hurts benefited from having a lot of talent around him, but you still have to play well, and he did. I mean, he's running the ball at a high level, and he's throwing the ball better than he ever has, and that is it's been great for him because it's helped his career. I mean, now people think he's a really good quarterback, and I mean, I always thought he was really good, but the throwing was a question. But he's passing the ball a lot better, and he's got great weapons, and he had a great season. So it's been awesome to see Jalen Hurts, not potentially be a bust in the NFL in a lot of people's eyes, and not playing at a high level. He's playing really well, and it's awesome to see.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. It's going to be a beautiful future for Philadelphia, whether they win or lose Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
All more during next. When Justin Jefferson, we're moving on up to Mr. Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, he's been fantastic this year. It's another fantastic year for Jefferson.
Yeah, man. I mean, people thought, coming out of college, I'm like, he had Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow on his team, man. Like, he was not that good, but man, he had a crazy good first 2 years. He basically made it so that the fans didn't hate Kirk Cousins because he got that elite receiver to go to. I mean, the guy's just a stud, man. He is elite, huge in fantasy, and made the Vikings have the season that they did this year, even though it was pretty disappointing in the playoff finish.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson. I mean, he had a great season for the Vikings. Helped out Kirk Cousins a lot in their passing game. And, yeah, I mean, obviously with Offensive Player of the Year, a lot of, people are automatically going to go quarterback because it's, the position you pay attention to the most for most people. But kind of like Taylor's point, Justin Jefferson should win, but it's a quarterback award. It's kind of like the Heisman. I mean, a lot of times, another position should win it, but at the end of the day, the quarterback wins it. But Justin Jefferson had a great season, and that should not be overlooked. He played well for the Vikings all year.
Mm-hmm. So I think I did goof on the next one. I forgot that Tyreek Hill went to the Dolphins, so I still have him as for the Chiefs. But I mean, the guy is fast as crap. Can get away from the receivers.
Oh yeah,
to get touchdowns. I mean, he was gifted with that athleticism, and he uses it. Runs great routes. The guy's a problem.
oh man, he's been doing very well at the Dolphins, man. It's been pretty good there. In
Tyreek
spite
Hill's
of,
been amazing.
yeah, I just don't know if he'll be able to get Super Bowls in Miami like he was at Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Tyreek Hill, he's been amazing. I mean, you look at, him going to the Dolphins was almost as important as A.J. Brown going to the Eagles. Obviously, the Dolphins did not have the success that the Eagles have had because of circumstances, particularly with Tua, and it's sad with him. But hopefully, he can get back on the field, next year. Everything will be okay, and pray for his health. But I mean, Tyreek Hill has been amazing. I mean, he's just a short guy with elite speed, and he can take hits, and he's powerful as well. I mean, he can bully people. It's just great. Tyreek Hill, again, it's kind of like with Justin Jefferson. If quarterbacks weren't the main focus of this award, then either of these two should have great consideration of winning it because they are so important to their teams that they're on.
Mm-hmm. All right. So for Offensive Player of the Year, who we going with? I think I gotta go with Pat Mahomes.
Mm-hmm. I got Patrick Mahomes as well. I mean, again, if it wasn't a quarterback, most of the time is the award going to them. I mean, it'd probably be Justin Jefferson, maybe Tyreek Hill, but yeah, it's Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Jalen Hurts had a great season as well, but his stats are nowhere near Patrick Mahomes' level.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Jalen, but I gotta go Pat Mahomes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the last award, the MVP, has pretty much the same guys, but just two more quarterbacks.
Yeah, choices are Patrick Mahomes.
So
Josh
we got
Allen.
Pat. We also got Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. So we'll talk about Josh first.
Yeah, Josh Allen. I mean, he had a great season. But then unfortunately the playoffs happened and the performance was not where it needed to be against the Bengals. That's probably going to hurt his chances for the award. But he still is a elite athlete. He's a great runner. His passing has been shaky at times this season. He's still a great passer, but at times the accuracy isn't there. And it wasn't against the Bengals. Yes, the snow happened, but it is what it is. I mean, it still should have benefited the Bills because they're used to it. But Josh Allen had a great year, but probably not enough to win MVP, but he still had a great season.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah, man. I thought they were going to win the Super Bowl after that first Rams game, but it turns out the Rams just weren't that good this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
Joseph Maldonado Burrow, the Bengal King.
Yeah, Joe Burrow was awesome as well, and he played well in the playoffs. Yes, against the Chiefs, there were a couple bad throws that unfortunately ended up costing them that game. But he still had a great season, and I mean, he led the Bengals to the Super Bowl, last year, and he almost got him back this year. And he's going up with a poor offensive line, and he's still playing well. So he had a great season, but unfortunately might fall short as well. But I mean, if he won the award, I would not, it wouldn't be crazy to me because I mean, Joe Burrow played fantastic, but I mean, there's just so many great players in the NFL. But he had a great year.
Yeah.
So for MVP, are you sticking with Pat, or do you think one of the other guys will win?
I'll probably just go Mahomes again.
Oh, well, I think I'm gonna go Jalen Hurts on this one.
All right. So we went too long. I mean, I think we had a lot of fun. We had some good conversation, but did go a little too long with our awards. So we're going to be doing our Super Bowl show on Thursday. We're sorry we couldn't get to it, but it's really late. So
Check it out. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell.
mm-hmm.
You're gonna get some of the best shows ever.
Yeah. See you
Great,
guys.
everybody.
Good night, everybody.